Hello, everybody. Bill Thornton, SoCalSabre here. And yet, another Saturday. Boy, this week went by fast. Got a lot of things going on, especially this weekend. Big one is my stepdaughter's in labor right now, and I'm going to be going down in the morning to see her. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that, are we? We're here to talk about music. In particular, the albums and CDs that I listened to this week. I'm going to go over them with you. And then at the end, I'll pick out the two that I like the most this week. I probably like them all, but which ones fancied me the most? Anyway, let's get ready to get going here. Let me get my notes up and running. All right, the first thing we're going to bring up here is a 1979 repress of a 1977 release by the Sex Pistols. Some of you might remember I said I was going to get a little bit more punk and stuff like that into the collection. Well, I got this one, and this one it was used. I bought it at my local record store, which is Wisecrack Records in Granite Hills, California. And this, I found out after I got it, this was in pretty, I would say VG, at least VG plus maybe. Not VG, no, strong VG. All right. And then as I found out, there's no inner in it, but these are all the names of the songs on the back. I found out that this was the only studio album by the English rock band, punk rock band. Crazy. They've been out for very popular. They got some other stuff, but it's the only studio one. They have a couple live ones and so forth in that. So it's pretty cool. I got it in. And it says, and what I've read on it, by the time this was released, the Sex Pistols were already controversial, having spoken profanity on live TV. Oh my goodness gracious, 1970s. 7 and you're talking bad on the TV. Boy, life has really changed, hasn't it? Crazy. And and they had been fired from 2 record labels and been banned from playing live in some parts of Britain. Wow, what the puritanical standards those were, huh? Many record stores refused to carry it. And second, some record charts weren't even listed on their charts. Showing just a blank space instead. You can see it's in pretty good shape. Due in part to its notoriety, in spite of many sales bans at major retailers, the album debuted at #1 on the UK albums chart. Isn't that something? How all the businesses and so forth wouldn't accept it, but the people loved it. When it debuts at #1, you know it's got a big following. I'm glad to have it into the collection. And I'm not an expert on punk and so forth, so if I'm grading, this is my grading, and it could be wrong, and some people will be wrong. But anyway, for the music, I'm going to give it a G+, and for the packaging, because of the ringware and no inner, I'm going to give it a G on that area. But G+ on the music. I liked it. And there'll be some more punk coming into the collection. Next one. I think it was the same day I was out there and I picked up that one at Wisecrack. I saw this. Brand new and sealed. And this is the 2025 2LP reissue of the 2011 release. The Beach Boys, the Smile Sessions. This is a 3LP release. The set is the follow-up to the Pet Sounds sessions in 1997. This time focusing on the abandoned recordings from the band's unfinished 1966-67 album title Smile. We got inners and books and all kinds of good stuff in this one here. Nice reading on this inner here. This compilation is the first and only package devoted to the 1960s Smile recordings originally produced by Brian Wilson, arriving after decades of public anticipation and numerous false starts. It features comprehensive session highlights and outtakes, with the first 19 tracks being labeled like a hypothetical version of the album Smile, of the completed album if it would have been completed. And here we go with the nice book. What a nice production this is. I have Pet Sounds. Really enjoyed that. Again, if you're looking for the pop Beach Boy beach songs like that were hits, you're not going to find them. You're going to find one or two of them, but you're not going to find many on this one here either. But if you're looking for excellent recording sounds and singing, vocals, this is a good one. This is another good one. You know, when I saw it, having been an owner of Pet Sounds, I knew that this one was going home with me that day. And I do not regret this at all. It's a nice 180 gram vinyl. The harmonies combined with the excellent music and recording, just really nice listening. If you want something that's nice to sit back, have your coffee or your cocktail, whatever you like, and listen to some good stuff, this is a good one. So, you know, yeah, it's a little fairly mellow, but it is great listening. And with this, with the production of this, I am actually going to go to excellent. I originally looked at it, I said VG, but this is such a great production with the inners and the book and the music. I got to go excellent. I'll change it right there. Okay. So that was the Smile Sessions by the Beach Boys, the 2025 reissue of the 2011 album. Recommended. Okay, we are moving on. We're going to go take a look at a Japanese release. I haven't had one of these in a while. For a while I was getting them rarely frequent, but not lately. And this one is by the King, Moody Blue by Elvis. It's 10 songs in all the various different styles. There's the listing right there of the songs. This is the 24th and final studio album by Elvis, released in July of '77, about 4 weeks before his death. I didn't know that when I bought this one. I didn't know this was his last one. I do have some other ones. I thought there was oh yeah, there is. There's the inner in here with the English lyrics here on this side. And the Japanese here. The album is a mixture of live and studio work. Including 4 songs from Elvis's final studio recording sessions in October of '76, and 2 tracks left over from the previous Graceland session in February of '76. The first issues of this were pressed in vinyl blue. And this is the first time an Elvis one had been issued on colored vinyl. And after his death, however, the album was heavily in demand and repressed on blue vinyl, making the original American black vinyl issue the scarcer of the two. In the United States, the album was also released on white and yellow vinyl. All overseas pressings, which this is, were on black vinyl, except for the first Argentina and Canadian pressings that were pressed on blue translucent vinyl. A lot of stuff going into there. A lot of history in that one, huh? Hey, you know what? I do this thing, I listen because I love music and listening to music. But then I do a little bit of research on every album. And it just increases my knowledge of that album and that, because I always pick up some trivia or something historical about the album in itself, which I kind of there. And I try to share some of it with you. I hope you enjoy this stuff. Okay, and this is nice to have in the collection. As far as the music goes, though, I wasn't real happy with it. His voice, the way it was mixed, his voice was not what I'm used to with Elvis, because I think Elvis is one of the great voices of all times. And I really wasn't happy with that. But because it was Elvis, I will go G plus on it for this week, even though it probably doesn't deserve any more than a G as far as my opinion. Okay, I just didn't like the way it was recorded, the mix. So anyway, that was Moody Blue, the Japanese release by Elvis in 1977. Moving on. What do we got for you next? Okay, we got a 1984 album next. And I'm sure you're going to be familiar with this person's name, and it's a self-titled album by Christine McVie. This is the only solo work I have by her. You know I have a lot of Fleetwood Mac, so she's on a lot of those. No inner on it. This was the second solo album by her. The album features a lot of guest appearances by Steve Winwood, Eric Clapton, Ray Cooper, Fleetwood Mac, and bandmates Lindsey Buckingham and Mick Fleetwood. Well, you do have a nice inner with it. The finished record produced 2 singles that reached the top 40 in the Billboard Hot 100 chart, Get a Hold on Me and Love Will Show Us How, which peaked at number 10 and 30 respectively. And the album peaked at number 26 and reached number 58 in the UK. Look at it. Played very nicely. It's on the Warner Brothers label. Okay, and the music was what I call very Fleetwood Macish. Okay, which was good. Which is good and bad. Okay, she was the lead on several hits, big hits by Fleetwood Mac. So her voice is very recognizable. And as for me, I like her voice, and I wish that it had been mixed a little bit more towards her voice and down a little bit because of the Fleetwood Mac sounding of the songs and everything. And so, because it is a good album, because I like her, I give it a VG for the week. That was Christine McVie's self-titled album from 1984. All right, time of the week we got into the CDs. The very first one we got is a song called, there was a series called Classics, and this was Volume 9, 1987, by a group I really like, Supertramp. I have three LPs and 2 CDs by Supertramp in my collection. There is the lineup. 14 songs in all. The Classics album series was released in 87 by A&M Records to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the start of the label. The Supertramp compilation was also released in several countries with the Autobiography of Supertramp title. You know, because I have some other stuff, I don't believe that this is an essential for a record collection, but if you don't have any other stuff, this would be good. And I probably thought different when I bought this, that I probably considered it an essential, but since then I bought some other stuff that have just added to the collection, you know, and I really like them. I also believe, from what I've read, I have not heard them yet, that there are a couple other compilations of Supertramp stuff that is actually better than this one. But if I run across them, I might take a look at them. I might give them a try. So, since I like them a lot, in the song, who can't forget Goodbye Stranger, the logical song, all these good stuff, Dreamer, you know, Take the Long Road Home, Crime of the Century. I'm going to go VG on Supertramp from 1987. The second CD got me rocking even better, even more, rocking more, I should have said. And it was the 1993 CD by Aerosmith, Get a Grip. I have 2 LPs and 8 CDs in the collection by Aerosmith. So must mean I must have liked them, right? And I have seen them live, and what a great show that was. Here's the, I forget which album they were on tour for when I saw them live down in Devore. There's the tracks there. 14 rock-style songs. This is the 11th studio album by the American rock band. And it was Aerosmith's last studio album to be released by Geffen before they returned to Columbia Records. Get a Grip became Aerosmith's best selling studio album worldwide, achieving sales, check this out, of 20 million copies. The album became the band's first album to reach #1 in the United States and tied with Pump for their second best-selling album in the U.S., selling over 7 million copies as of 1985. Toys in the Attic leads with 9 million, and that's just U.S. sales, so. And we got some stuff on the back. Two songs from the album won Grammy Awards for the best rock performance by a duo or a group with vocal in 1993 and 1994. The album was voted Album of the Year by Metal Edge Readers and Magazine in 93. Yeah, Crazy, Living on the Edge won the Grammys. What great songs. This album really, really, really rocked and was really good. Really good. You know. And it looks like when that day I was thinking of it, yep, rated a VG. And that was the 1993 album, Get a Grip by Aerosmith. Well, we're down to the last album of the week, which always comes out on Saturday. And this turned out to be a nice finish in the week, I think. This is the 1978 album by Wings, or Paul McCartney and Wings. I have 3 LPs and 1 CD in the collection that's either by Wings or Paul McCartney and Wings. 12 songs. Despite the album's name, it includes 2 Paul McCartney tracks released before the establishment of Wings, which was Uncle Albert and Admiral Halsey, and from the Ram Emblem, and Another Day from a single EP. The album charted at 12 different charts. You know, who can't miss some of these songs? Another Day, Silly Love Songs, Love and Live and Let Die, With a Little Luck, Band on the Run. Good stuff. Jet. 12 different charts, with the highest peaking at number 5 in the UK charts. This was a fun listen to today. I call it great old. Some people classify it rock. I call it pop rock. And it was a fun listen. I'm going to give it a VG. Played real nice for an old album. So what did I like the most? Well, first of all, I got a lot of things to pick this week. This was a tough week. Which ones would you have picked if you owned any of these, or if you know these artists? Are any of these artists your favorite? So the first one that I'm going to pick, I think won't have a hard time picking this one, was the Smile Sessions by the Beach Boys. What a really nice album. Then the second one, I'm really looking reviewing real quickly here. You know, I think I'm actually going to go with Get a Grip, because that really, really rocked me. And it's got some good songs on there. You know, I probably could have went with Wings because of all of the popular songs that were on that one, but Get a Grip really had me rocking in that day. So that's my 2 choices, Get a Grip and the Smile Sessions by the Beach Boys. Let me know what you think. Put some comments down there. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so to help the channel grow. SoCalSabre saying take care of yourselves out there. Be kind to each other and stay safe.